Hello, and welcome to Rock Your Block, where we highlight individuals who impact our community. I'm your host, Larry Laws. May of each year, we celebrate and honor Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. During this time, we pay tribute to our generations of Asian and Pacific Islanders who have enriched America's history and are instrumental in its future success. The month of May was chosen to commemorate the immigration of the first Japanese to the United States on May 7, 1843, and to mark the anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railway on May 10, 1869. Most of the workers who laid the tracks were Chinese immigrants. Today's segment of First Home Alliance, we honor and highlight not one, but two phenomenal guests, PJ and Safani. PJ is a real estate professional, has a simple psychology, a philosophy. His philosophy, relationships come first. He pledges to actively communicate with his clients, keeping them informed throughout the buying or selling process. PJ and his team constantly strive to lead the field in innovation, consumer education, risk analysis, and customer satisfaction. Our second guest, Safani, a first-generation immigrant from Cambodia, arrived in the United States in June of 2017. She's married and has 3 lovely children. Shortly after moving to the United States, Safani was enrolled in a skills source program that partnered with First Home Alliance with volunteer service and job training. This is where Safani's journey to homeownership began. She asked every question. She attended every class. She felt that housing was necessary, but homeownership would provide a more comfortable and stable living environment for her family. In April 2019, with less than 2 years in the United States, she became a first-time homebuyer. Please welcome to our show, CEO and lead agent at the Santiago Real Estate team of KW Capital Properties, PJ Santiago.
Hello, hi.
And one of the most recent immigrants and successful homeowner, Safani Ho. Good evening, PJ. Thank you for coming in again.
Happy to be here. Yeah.
All right. I would like for you to just tell our audience a little bit more about you and your family here.
Oh, in the United States? Well, yes. My dad actually had a business that was in civil and construction engineering for the government in the Philippines, and there was a dictatorship that actually took over. And because of that, a lot of his contracts actually fell apart because the dictator wanted to make sure that those items were actually given to certain parties. Now, with that in mind, he did receive an opportunity to work as an engineer with the US government and with public transit. He had that opportunity, he brought my mom, and the rest is history. They became US immigrants.
All right, super. Yeah. All right, and so thank you for being here and coming in for the show. Safani, tell us about your flight, basically coming here to the United States.
Yeah. I come here to United States through a special immigrant visa because I'm work for US 20 years. They provide me a special immigrant to come here with the whole family, my husband and 3 kids. So you know how hard it is during migrate here. It's not easy, a lot of challenge for me and my family.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad that you both have a connection with First Home Alliance. I really appreciate that for the volunteer service and also the working environment and things of that sort. PJ, can you think back the first time that you made contact with First Home Alliance?
The first time I made contact with First Home Alliance was actually at Ben & Jerry's Free Cone Day in Fairfax, Virginia, at Fairfax Corner. At the time, I got laid off as a financial accountant within hedge fund consulting back when the Wall Street stock market crash took place, right around the time of the Big Short. And I was just looking for a new direction. And you started talking about how you helped homeowners keep their homes. You started talking about how you helped regular citizens become first-time home buyers. And I was hooked. I mean, it was the best scoop of ice cream I ever had in my life. Right. It changed my trajectory forever, you know?
Yes. So, yeah. Well, thanks for ice cream.
Yes. I love ice cream, yeah.
Yes. All right. And so funny, what was your first contact with First Home Alliance?
First, I have a chance to contact with First Home Alliance through Skillsoft program. Mm-hmm. I came to see him for assistance because since I come here, I don't know anyone and I'm looking for a job. And then he asked me go to First Home Alliance for volunteer job. Mm-hmm. Then that time I met Larry. I meet you
Oh,
and
yeah.
Charlene.
Okay.
So after that, I got a job, and then I can ask for Charlene to find a job first, a home, because I think home very important for my family.
Right. Yes, and so I want to talk a little bit, a little bit more about your family. PJ, you have a wife and a young daughter.
Beautiful baby girl, yeah. She's actually I consider her my direct supervisor, if anything.
Yeah. Well, what are some of the things y'all like to do together?
Well, in general, we like to do what would be culturally enriching and educational for our daughter. She's already in the point where she's starting to add and subtract and multiply, and she already has sentences that are being formed, like flow sentences, and any game that's connected to that, we definitely want to engage her in that and be a part of it, as the type of parents that want to be involved in like her future, so to speak. And I will say that outside of that, we just watch a lot of Bluey, and we play with a lot of Bluey toys. So it's Bluey and education.
And so, Bonnie, what are some of the things that you and your family like to do?
So I have 3 kids. My daughter right now she's at second year at college, and my 2 sons, they are at high school. They really enjoy studying here. Free time, they like to go out for sport. After they like to do like wrestling sports. So everyone enjoy and happy living in this country.
Oh, great, great. And PJ, can you recall maybe some stories your parents when they first came? What was some of those entry into the States?
When they first came to this country, they were actually sleeping on my aunt's couch in Herndon. And they actually had to live like that for a short period of time before they got their first apartment over in Southwest DC. And during that time frame, they were saving, working 2 jobs each, until they were able to afford a house in this part of Alexandria called Del Rey on Windsor Avenue. And when they bought it at the time, for I believe it was $87,000, it was during a period where there was a crack epidemic in Northern Virginia and DC. But my dad, being the city planner that he is, he understood that there would be, at least logistically speaking, a important high-value opportunity within that part of Northern Virginia. But he was right, because that $87,000 property is now worth $850,000.
Yes.
And the thing that's crazy about that is he actually purchased it with a 19% interest rate on an FHA loan,
Really?
which was considered amazing at the time.
Really?
Yeah, so
19%.
19%, yeah. So yeah, we're not there.
And we're afraid of 6.
Yeah, we're afraid of 6. Yeah.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great story in reference to just coming to the U.S. And so funny. So you first generation. So what was your experience? First coming to the country.
First, I think it's not easy to live in this country, because as I mentioned, I don't have any family member who live in this country. I come here first time. I live in my friend's house with a small basement. I can stay I have 3 kids and husband. My husband stay in the couch, and then 4 of us stay in one small bed, and even that basement very, very low and hard to breathe. And at that time, I remember my three kids was crying, because he said that he cannot live here, he cannot stay here, because of he never had that hard experience like this before. So he said that, Mom, can we go home? I said, no, you cannot go home, you have to stay here, because I will find a job, and then we'll help you to get better life in this country. So after that, I went to skill shop, and then they asked me go for volunteer job with First Home Alliance. Then I meet amazing colleague Larry and Charlene.
All right, great. And so I know there are some differences, here in the United States. PJ, could you speak on some of the cultural differences that your parents have talked about in your original country, and the difference in the culture that you have here?
Well, a big trend that is now starting to form in the United States, that has been in the Philippines for decades, is the trend of multi-generational housing. And that's generally where you see uncle, homeowner, child, maybe even grandchild, all living within the same roof. And knowing that we're in a little bit of an inventory crisis right now in the United States as a whole, that is going to be an ongoing trend that I think the United States is going to adopt from the Philippines for many years to come.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm quite sure you had, there are some cultural differences that maybe some of those trends are similar to what you had.
So I just want to specify the most culture difference is in United States when they married, both need to know each other before getting married. But in our culture, we cannot do that. We need have like arrangement marriage. So bride and groom cannot know each other before married. They need to have arrangement marriage.
Not know each other at all?
Not know each other at all. Arrangement made by both parents.
Okay.
So, but in United States, before get married, they have to know each other at least a couple years, right?
I guess.
Yeah.
A couple and sometimes you meet the parents after the marriage here.
Yeah. After they understand each other,
Yes.
then they start to propose the marriage, right?
Okay.
Propose the wedding, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, well that is a big culture
And also
difference there.
another difference that I have observed here, when people greet each other, they shake hand. But our culture, you cannot touch someone's hand. You need to do like this. Use both hands to greet each other when we first meet, to show respect. Yeah.
Okay, yes. There are some great, definitely differences in our culture.
Yeah.
Yes. And is there a saying on why maybe not touching hands of a stranger? Is there a reason why?
Because our culture very strict. Like when you touch somebody's head or body, somebody, they might say you try to do something like sexual harassment, something like that.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's why you can only use both hands. I remember when one day I went to Bangkok to attend a training while I was in Cambodia. I walked on the street, one of my supervisor, he's American. When he saw me, he come to hug me like this. And my husband surprised, how come this stranger come to hug you? And then I told him, that is a culture of American. When they like you and they know you well, they try to hug you because they really like you very much, like provide warm like this. And my husband, first he got jealous. He said, why this stranger come to hug you in front of other people's face? And now he understands.
He understands.
He understands the culture.
Yes. Well, that is good to share those differences in culture, so that we, can understand why there may be some resistance in, for certain things.
Yeah.
So yes, well, thank you both for sharing information.
A little different.
Yes, a little different.
Yeah.
Yes. And so we're going to go into, I want to talk about the profession that you're in, PJ. But before we go there, we're going to take a short break. Okay. We're about to take a break. But before we go, I would like to remind you that First Home Alliance is a HUD-approved housing counseling agency serving the National Capital Area. If you are a first-time home buyer or homeowner in need of mortgage assistance, please visit the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development website to find a HUD-approved housing counseling agency in your area. We'll be right back after the break. Stay tuned.
With First Home Alliance. A little bit about First Home Alliance. We are a HUD-approved housing counseling agency that was established in 2002 by our Executive Director, Larry Law. He established the nonprofit. He established it because his mother purchased her first home at the age of 65. And everyone was like, how did you do that? Because her income was really low. And so that's how he found out about the USDA program. And so through the USDA program, his mother was able to purchase her first home. It intrigued him to see how he could help individuals basically experience the American dream of homeownership. So he established the nonprofit. Mission is to increase home ownership to low to moderate income families. And so what does First Home Alliance do?
Welcome back. You're watching Rock Your Block. I'm your host, Larry Laws of First Home Alliance. And if you're just now tuning in, we're joined today with real estate professional PJ Santiago and homeowner Sapani Hub. Before the break, PJ, we started talking about the profession that you're in as a real estate professional. Talk to us a little bit about some of the priorities of you and your team.
Well, as a real estate agent, the number one priority is and will always be ensuring peace of mind for the people we represent. And then once we understand that peace of mind, which is usually rooted in their motivations, their ambitions, their dreams, so on and so forth, that's when we can make them aware of certain opportunities that are available within their geographic region of choice. And then from there, it just gets to a point where as long as we're transparent and we make them aware of what's going on, even if we lose, even if we win, we always make them transparent. We always become transparent and clear as to what's going on. They always appreciate and respect us for it. And that's why I keep on getting those repeat clients over the last 12 years or so.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I know we've reached out to you a few times. You have always accepted to come in and help us with our first-time homebuyer class. And I noticed that you had a very good technique in reference to getting the students engaged. Tell me a little bit about educating first-time homebuyers.
Well, the familiarity of the situation is always going to be the best way for someone to understand that said situation. And in order to do that, I think it's important to actually have that narrative, tell the story, help people understand what it's like to become a homeowner and what's necessary of you in order to become a homeowner, or in even some cases, a home seller. So I'm happy to do it at any time. Just give me a holler. We'll go from there.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you, giving back to the community.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about some of those other things that you're doing in the community as well.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Okay. And Sapani, tell us about becoming a home. I mean, you was here less than 24 months. Tell us about your journey becoming a homeowner.
So first, when Skillsoft program sent me to First Home Alliance to work as a volunteer job. At that time, I keep an eye on them, and then I look at them what they are doing, and I found out that they provide like consultation to people who want to buy a first home. Mm-hmm. Then I'm thinking of my family. I need home to stay. I need a place comfortable for my lovely kid. Then I asked one of counselor how to purchase a first home in this country, and then they asked me go to attend like home buying class. Mm-hmm. So I understand. I learned through the process step by step until I got my house.
Okay, that's great. And like I said, you asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, I asked a lot of questions.
You asked a lot of questions. I mean, in reference to your income level, consistency in your job.
Yeah.
You asked all those questions, and of course, you didn't have any problem with budgeting.
Yeah, I don't have any problem.
No problem with that. You did very well on that. Yes. PJ, you're doing some other things in the community, and I understand that you are helping in some other areas. Can you speak on some of those other activities you're doing?
Sure. I am right now working with Bethany House, which actually helps domestic abuse survivors live on and go to safety and have their rest of their life in front of them. And the way that I do it is I actually have a program that I dedicated to my dad, who no matter how busy he got, he would always find a way to drive me to practice, drive me to school, so on and so forth. I named it after him because the program that I have set up for him with collaboration with Uber is going to get some of these people who are being serviced by Bethany House to go to job interviews to get the proper training so that they can be self-sufficient and live on their own. Mm-hmm. I'm also working with people over at the Hanley shelter in Fairfax, Virginia. I'm working with their staff there to help with Afghan refugees who are in the United States. And I'm helping them out through video game therapy because I did donate a PlayStation 5 and a TV there so that the therapists that are helping them adjust outside of their life from the Taliban could get reacclimated with not only American culture, but just expressing themselves freely because they didn't have that luxury during Taliban rule.
Yes.
There's also a lot of other nonprofit work that I do as well with other organizations, and I could go on for days and days and days.
Yeah.
But
just speak, a lot of people may not know about 2 years ago when the pandemic first hit.
Oh, yeah.
You procured a lot of wipes and cleaning materials and masks And we gave those out over a period of months of
Yeah.
the big supply that we have.
That was a lot of fun. I
Yes,
love
and
that.
so maybe even a couple of photos out there on social media, where we dress up with our, our favorite team.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about the, giving during that time period in the pandemic.
Well, a lot of people were just scrounging and collecting as much PPE items, you name it, as possible. And they weren't doing it in a manner where they were giving it to people in need. They were doing it as a way to basically hoard. And I didn't appreciate that. I didn't like that at all. So what I did was I got in contact with a lot of the grocery managers, a lot of the major distributors. I even got in contact with one of the factories over in Bakersfield, California, which is able to send us a batch of N95s directly to First Home Alliance so that we can give them away to people in need.
Yes.
And I did it over a matter of 2 years. I mean, it ranged anywhere from baby formula to N95s to hand sanitizer, whatever. I've just always been the type of person that could find a way to do something, find a solution when there isn't one to be found. And that's actually the reason why I did so well with First Home Alliance, because you actually helped me nurture that skill set.
Yes.
And that skill set is what I use right now to thrive in real estate as an agent.
Yes, and I really enjoy and appreciate how you give back to the community. As a matter of fact, I have a grandson now where I donated some formula through one of those contacts, and actually we receive formula from from a source as well. So the more you give, we gave, and we received even a new formula that was difficult for us to find on the shelves.
That was with the Villa Group, yes.
Yes.
I remember that, yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Happy to be a part of it, yeah.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yes, Sapani, well, talk to, there's some individuals that are afraid to move forward with home ownership. And I think one of the reasons is the major thing is their credit and actually saving.
Saving, yeah.
Talk to us, because, well, you work in accounting. So talk a little bit about your work and also share with other individuals how to help get them started.
So, in order to buy a home, you need to have a good credit score. Like you need to pay off your credit card at least 70% from your credit card, and then you have to save some amount of money to put for down payment.
Now, would you recommend someone just try to do this on their own?
No, I recommend them to attend home buying education class in order to know to know the step to become a own homeowner. First homeowner.
Yes, first time home buyer, homeowner. Yeah, that is great. Yes. Okay. And so I want to maybe a parting message for individuals that have a problem saving. Can you give them an idea of how to get started saving money? How do you get started?
Based on my opinion, when you plan to purchase a home, you need to save at least 20% of your income, and you need to build your credit score. Make sure to pay your bill on time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't miss any payment. Make sure you pay debt. Like for example, like you have a credit card, at least you pay like 70% every month.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And PJ, and we're getting ready to close here, but give us about 30 seconds in reference to the importance of that education.
Well, you can always move forward without the education, but you're not going to know about the opportunities that are all available for you without the education. And that's why the training is important, because there's some individuals who try to buy the property without going through that first-time home buyer course, and they think that that's the only avenue that they can take. And then you come in, your trainers come in, and you make them aware that there's at least 4 or 5 different avenues they can take that could be tailor-made for their certain living situation in mind.
Well, thank you both for coming in, and it's a pleasure to be here highlighting the month for the Asian Pacific Islands Heritage Month, and thank you guys for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for honoring it.
Thank you for honoring.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this interview with PJ and Sapani. It has been a pleasure to recognize their accomplishments and to celebrate and honor Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. If you would like more information on either of our guests, please see the information below. Now it's time to check our inbox and see how we can help rock your block. This is where we share questions sent to us by you, our viewing audience, about financial wellness and housing. Today's question comes from Woodbridge, Virginia. I'm a homeowner in a COVID-19 forbearance. What should I do? The COVID-19 forbearance period is ending soon, so please contact a HUD Housing Counseling Agency to assist you with a plan, an action plan where you may be eligible for a homeowner assistance grant or qualify for other workout options, such as a loan modification. I'm Larry Laws of First Home Alliance, and it's been my pleasure sharing with you our mission and highlighting people in our community that are making an impact. If you have questions about financial wellness or how we can help you make your dream of homeownership a success, email your question to our inbox at firsthomealliance.org. Then tune into our next show to see if your question was selected to be shared with our audience. You can easily find more information by visiting our website at firsthomealliance.org or by visiting us on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you for watching today's segment of First Home Alliance, and join us next time to rock your block.
Glad to know that, some of this stuff about credit and buying houses is written down somewhere. A lot of the times it's always hearsay, like other friends or family members who have bought houses before, but they can never, tell you legit what you need to get done and do before buying a house.
I definitely think this class should be required for all first home buyers because a lot of times the real estate agent doesn't explain the process to you. So I think this is very important.
It's from the credit up to receiving a loan, and the most important thing is the process that you go through when you're buying the house, and there are a lot of process which you don't have idea about that before you take this class.
Speakers who came up and spoke about each section, they were very knowledgeable in their field, and I felt like it was relatable. They didn't just throw out a whole bunch of terms that went over my head, but they really explained it in a way to where I understood it, and I could even explain it to my children, and it was even easier for me to take home and kind of remember and process and apply to my next steps. The process was amazing.
They start first with the class before even finding a lender or agent. Because I did all that and I wasn't able to purchase, and then I was like, oh, you know what, there's a lot of information I'm not aware of. Let me just start from the beginning, to put everything on hold. Start from
piecing the information together, because you've heard things about the loans and about this and about the credit, but this is like a summary, and it just gives a clear flow of where to go with what you have and kind of building up a plan. So that kind of gives me a whole picture of where I needed to go and how to get there.